So you bought your first property. How old were you when you bought that first rental property?
21.
All right. So let's talk about that for a minute, because a lot of people listening to the show are younger. Like they are in their 20s. I was actually 21 when I bought my first rental as well. David was like 63. And so like when he bought his very first rental.
Yeah.
And, he's giving me that look.
We didn't call them rentals back then. We called it homesteading.
All right. So you're 21. Do you have any tips for people listening to the show right now who are young? They're fired up. They want to get into real estate. They don't want the prescribed life plan that our parents and grandparents followed. What do you say to those people about jumping into real estate at a young age?
I would say it's probably just getting over the mental hurdle that you can't do it. And there was a lot of resistance for me too at 21 to buy a house, especially to buy a house cash. And I really kind of had this belief that's just like, it's not right for a 21-year-old to own a home. Like it's not normal. Like you can't do that. You're too young to do something like that. And also I won't lie. I mean, I'll say that there was a little bit of guilt in that too, knowing that like there were people in like their 40s and 50s who've been saving up their entire lives, who still don't own a property and they just can't do it. And there's some guilt that's like, is this fair for someone who's 21 to be like buying this house? And I think it was a lot of this kind of self-doubt that really got to me a little bit. But I just figured I just got to push through it and push all of those thoughts aside. So for me, I mean, that was probably the biggest thing, is more like the mental aspect of doing this. And also a bit of the awkwardness of all of my tenants were significantly older than me. And here I am as this kid, and it's like I'm the landlord and I'm like this 21-year-old kid. And, you know, even at 21, I looked probably like I was 16. So it's like, here's this little kid who's like, I owe rent to every single month. That was really intimidating for me. Even to meet these people that were like my tenants, I was like, how do I act? Do I pretend, like, am I their friend? Or what do I say? What do I do? So it was definitely really scary, and it was definitely a learning experience. But I would say you just got to jump in. I mean, there's no other way around it to really prepare yourself besides just getting that firsthand experience.
You know, there's probably a couple things that you've already learned to work around that. Like one of them is when you're a landlord managing your own property, you never tell people that you're the owner. You always tell them you're the property manager, right? You like, then they don't think like, who's this 21-year-old trying to tell me what to do? You're like, I'm obviously a kid savant. If someone hired me at 21 to manage this property, you're going to do everything that I say. Like, I'm sure there's some things you picked up along the way. That's very impressive. You did that at such a young age. When you look at most 21-year-olds now, they're actually avoiding anything that would cause anxiety or growth or risk, right? And they're chasing things that kind of make them feel comfortable. What do you say to the 21-year-olds that are out there that say, yeah, that's cool and all, but I don't want to save my money. I don't want to work for money. I want to buy experience, not things, even if things can be assets that can be worth a lot of money and set you up for your future?
I think it's worth it. Here's the thing. I mean, here's my own personal belief when it comes to this, is that you have such a massive advantage in your 20s that you're never going to have for the rest of your life. I really believe that if people take 1 decade and just really save for their 20s, that what they do in their 20s can set them up for the rest of their lives, because they have the power of really just having this compounded interest working for them since for the very beginning, that I think if they just make a very short-term sacrifice, and they can still have the experiences and they can still have a great time, they can still do everything they want to do, but dial it back and make saving a priority, they can go so far. Like I never felt like I have missed out in my 20s. I'm going to be 29 next month. And I've never felt like I've missed out on something. Like if all my friends are going out to like a really fancy dinner, let's just say, I will order an appetizer instead of an entree. I mean, it's something as simple as that could save me.
No avocado toast?
No avocado toast. You just delay the avocado toast in your 20s. But I've taken it to an extreme. So I've definitely gone like, this is probably a terrible, terrible thing to say, but all my friends went out to a really nice restaurant, like a really nice restaurant. Like to the point where usually you would have to wear like a button-down shirt and like dress shoes and stuff like this. I didn't want to spend like the $80 a plate, but I wanted to go with everyone. So I went to Subway and I brought in my Subway sandwich to the restaurant and I just asked for a plate. And when everyone else got their food, I had the Subway sandwich like on my chair. I pulled out the Subway sandwich and had it on my plate. just so I wouldn't have to spend the $80. So I spent like $5 on a footlong sandwich.
That's hilarious.
No avocado, so I saved that extra like
No
dollars.
avocado.
But my point is this: is that I still had a great time. Like so I bought a Lotus Elise, and that was like my cool sports car. So instead of buying like the Lamborghini for like 170 grand, I bought a Lotus Elise for $30,000. That didn't lose its value, but it was like 95% the same thing in terms of experience for a fraction of the price. So there's a lot of these things that you can do that don't really cost a lot of money, where you get basically the entire experience. Or you can, like, even now, I can travel anywhere in the world for free just with credit card points. And that's something very simple. So you can still do all of these things. It's just you don't need to spend money necessarily doing them. Or you can really cut down on that. So I really feel like your 20s, if you can just do that for 10 years and really build up that nest and to get a few properties under your belt or just get some investments, that could set you up for the rest of your life, so that when you're 30, 40, 50, you're never going to have to worry about like, oh, this rental property or this wholesale deal or this real estate agent deal, because you're already going to have that nest that's kind of holding you.